Alright tribe, you know we're in bad shape when McDonald's is fighting in our corner. Alright, so according to recent headlines, McDonald's is suing the big four meat packers, which if you're not familiar, JBS, Tyson, Cargill, and National Beef Company. They own and control 85% of the beef industry. So essentially what they've done is they phased out most of the local butcher shops, most of the local meat packers, and almost all of the beef that you get in the United States goes through these beef packers. So they essentially own the market. Now what McDonald's is claiming is that these big four meat packers are fixing the markets, and they're causing McDonald's to pay substantially higher prices for beef when the market should not necessarily be that high. So in other words, they're artificially inflating the market and making us, the consumer, pay more. Because when McDonald's talks about this, it's not just limited to McDonald's. This is referring to the overall inflated cost of meat in general, which I'm sure, as you know, if you're a meat eater, you're a carnivore watching this channel, watching this video, you probably buy quite a bit of meat for either you or your dog or both. And you'll probably have noticed that within the last 4 years, the price of meat has almost doubled. And in just this year alone, the price of meat has went up 5.2%. Within the next 2 years, it's expected to climb 15 to 20 more percent. But that's just one more point. We already have all these other factors working against us. We don't need this additional layer of an artificial inflated beef cost just because these large companies and these large corporations want to increase their profit. And just to give you some context, JBS in particular has already paid out $52.5 million in 2022 because of market fixing. So these companies are known to do this. This is not breaking news, but it's pretty wild that a company like McDonald's that has insane profits and makes billions and billions of dollars every single year is calling them out on that because it's having financial impacts on them. So if it's impacting them, imagine what it's doing to the consumer. Well, you don't have to imagine it because it's actively happening to us, and it has been. And it's easy to kind of feel helpless in these situations and just be like, well, the cost of meat's going up. There's nothing I can do. It won't be long before I can't afford it. Yada, yada, yada. But I will say that that's exactly what they want. They're trying to price us out of meat. They're trying to limit and restrict our access to it. A lot of these big meat packing companies have already invested in lab-grown meat, so they have a backup plan when we can't afford beef and when beef isn't available to us, because there are a lot of factors that are working against us that are trying to phase out beef, specifically beef. And that's why I'm making this video. I'm not making this video to fearmonger and make you feel hopeless and get you all mad and riled up. The reason I'm making this video is to show you that there is another way. And if we follow this path, it is the only way that we will break free from the grasp that the industrial food complex has on us and not contribute and not give our money to these large corporations that are ruining our life and trying to take away our livelihood and food sovereignty. And the number one way we do that is if we source as much of our food as possible from our local communities. Local farms, butcher shops, ranches, producers, anyone that is not tied to the industrial food complex, that is not a foreign country, and is not one of these mega corporations. If you can do that, that is going to create a market outside of those industries, and it will allow them to set prices and set a market that is much lower than what you can find on grocery store shelves. If you don't believe that, I've done countless videos on how much money I spend a day on carnivore because the customer base for my local producer here in Kentucky is so loyal and so strong. And I've not only seen that in Kentucky, I've seen that across the country because I have traveled a lot in my lifetime, more than the average person probably ever will. And I can tell you that in nearly every state, I've seen this happen. The more loyal of a customer base a local producer has, the cheaper the meat is going to be. Hands down, full stop, end of story. That's the way it is. And there's a lot of research and a lot of articles out there that back this up. And I'm here to tell you, nobody's coming to save us. This is up to us to make this happen, because nobody has our best interests in mind more than ourselves. It doesn't matter who gets put in office. It doesn't matter what kind of changes are made. There's always going to be someone greedy, a greedy corporation. There's always going to be somebody in their pockets, and there's always going to be somebody that only wants your money and does not care about how they go about getting it. So this is the way out of this, and I would say that it's the only way out of this. And if you're looking for local producers in your area, I spent over a year creating a local directory with farms, butcher shops, local producers, focused mostly on meat, that has over 7,200 listings on there. I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can access that. It is 100% free to use. And this right here is the exact reason I created this directory. So please use it. And if for some reason you can't find a local producer in your area, there are plenty of places across the country that ship and also have delivery routes. So always keep in mind that is another option. So if you take one thing away from this video, please let it be that there is hope. And the hope lies within us. Each one of us have the power to drive change. We vote with our dollars, buy American, buy local, and do everything you can to optimize your health and maintain our food sovereignty. And as I mentioned previously, there are unfortunately a lot of factors that are working against us. And if you want to know what's coming, click on this video right here.